Hello, so today I thought I would show you what I do when I touch up my etchings. So very rarely is it that a print comes out of the press exactly as I want it, which I think is the same for most people. So I just thought I'd show you the things that I use, the tools that I use to touch things up, make them look as if they came out perfect. If you like the video, then do click like, subscribe to the channel, and there's lots more to see at ruthander.co.uk. There's work to buy, there's self-paced video courses to buy as well. No more videos for the next 2 weeks. I am away in Japan, so no doubt there will be videos about that at some point. So because it is incredibly rare to get a print that comes out of the press absolutely as you want it, and in fact it hardly ever happens, I sometimes retouch my etchings, or dry points in this case. And I just thought I would show you some of my favourite things for retouching, my fake dry point, if you like. So one of my favourites for doing a dark line, so here this area hasn't printed quite so well as the other areas. I just want to fill in these darker bits here. I will use Indian ink and a dip pen. And that is one of the best ways I've found of basically a kind of fake dry point, if you will. So what I tend to do is I don't want it to splodge and splurge, so I tend to just have a little bit of kitchen towel or paper near me, so I dip the pen in and just get the excess off, and then you can just go over. Oh, I've got too much excess off, I think. Let's just get a little bit more in there, and you can just go in and just go over those lines there, and it doesn't look exactly like a dry point, but when you've got other dry point lines and it's in amongst them, you can hardly tell the difference. And it will just, if you just need that sort of a little bit of darkness just to imply something, and you can see that the ink is actually quite a bit darker than the printed mark, so just be aware of that and maybe try and get a bit of excess off. You don't want loads of ink, and in fact you may even want to just blot a little bit to get any excess off as well. But that's my top tip for essentially a fake dry point line. If you're looking for tones, trying to get a bit more tone, so here this is a bit lighter than I wanted it to be. My marks didn't print so well. There's a few things that I might use. My favourite things are, this is a charcoal pencil, and I've actually sharpened this with a craft knife, and I've noticed that it works a lot better sharpened like that rather than with a sharpener. A normal 6B pencil, graphite, and charcoal, an actual piece of charcoal. Charcoal is probably your best bet actually for just basic tone, just trying to get a bit more tone in there. So you can go quite gently, you can blend with the finger, and actually look, you can see that's hardly makes, you can hardly tell. You could of course not blend as well, you can just have it like as is. The charcoal pencil is great. It's much darker and it's a bit more difficult to blend. So it could be used, in fact, for this type of line work. It's dark enough to do that, and it can work quite well as well. But you could also use it for this kind of, and you can see there it's quite a bit darker, but you can blend a little bit with the finger. So I find that quite useful. So it's a good thing to have. And what I'm looking for here is something that's going to be very soft, basically. Very soft. It's not going to be raised up from the picture surface, the paper surface. It's just going to almost blend into the paper itself. And something like charcoal will do that really nicely. And your other option might be to, so let's use this one. Just use a 6B pencil sometimes works as well. If you just want a very faint line, essentially a grey line, then that will do well as well. It will blend a little bit, not as much as the charcoal. And you can also use it, I've used it already on here actually, just to create some movement and some line. It goes well, even though it looks like pencil, it does go well with the etched line and the tones anyway. So it doesn't, stick out too much. So those are my top tips for touching up your prints that don't come out of the press exactly the way you like them.